Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this session on Meta Setup and Digital Marketing Foundations. In this video, we're going to walk through some really important concepts, including how to set up your Meta account, understanding the NID and PAN documentation process, and some key guidelines around practice and self-learning. This is part of an ongoing series where we've already covered social media channel setup, and today we're going to go a little deeper. Let's get started.
Before we dive in, let's quickly understand where we are in this learning journey. By this point, all the social media channels have already been set up. That groundwork is done. Today's session is specifically focused on Meta setup, and just so you know, the Pixel setup is going to come later. We'll cover that toward the end of the series, so don't worry about Pixel just yet. The instructor wants everyone to stay consistent and keep following along as the sessions progress. The instructor started this session by checking in on yesterday's assignment. A practical task had been assigned. Students were asked to go ahead and do it on their own. Now, out of the group, it seems most people gave it a try, and at least one person completed it independently. That's exactly the kind of initiative the instructor is encouraging. The whole point of these practical assignments is that doing it yourself, not just watching, is what builds real, lasting understanding.
Here's what's on the agenda for today's session. First, we're going to do a proper deep dive into Meta setup, going beyond the basics and really getting into the details. Second, we'll talk about the NID and PAN documentation process, which has changed recently and is important to understand. Third, the instructor shares some really valuable guidelines around how to practice and study on your own. And finally, there was a question raised during the session about a WordPress theme, which the instructor also addresses. Pixel, as mentioned, is saved for later. So let's talk about Meta setup. Up until now, the focus has been on creating and setting up social media channels, the foundational layer. Today, the instructor wants to go a level deeper inside Meta. Think of it like this. You've built the house, and now it's time to start furnishing and wiring it properly. The goal today is to understand Meta's business configuration more thoroughly, so that when we get to Pixel later, everything is already in place and ready to connect. Now, let's talk about the NID and PAN documentation process. And this is something that has changed recently, so pay close attention. Previously, when setting up accounts, you could submit your national ID or NID and even a photocopy of your PAN card for verification purposes. However, the instructor notes that this is no longer working the same way. The system is currently showing delays, and the PAN card photocopy is not being accepted as it used to be. So what should you do? If you have a company account, go ahead and try submitting your documents. But if it doesn't go through, the instructor's advice is to simply skip it for now and move on. Don't get stuck on this step. During the session, one of the students raised a question about WordPress. Specifically, they had created a theme using AI tools and wanted guidance on how to proceed with it. The instructor acknowledged this question and confirmed that it would be addressed and walked through during the session. This is actually a really relevant topic. Using AI to generate WordPress themes is a modern and increasingly common approach, and it's great that students are already experimenting with it. The instructor made it clear. This will be covered, so stay tuned. The instructor shared a really important framework for how to learn effectively in this course, and it's worth paying close attention to this. Step 1. Watch and listen carefully during the session. Step 2. After the session, go and practice everything on your own. Don't just watch, actually do it. Step 3. Once you've practiced, create notes from what you've learned and share those notes in the group. This is powerful because your notes might help a classmate who is struggling with the same thing. The key message here is, try to solve problems yourself first, then help your peers, and only then reach out to the instructor. Now, the instructor also set some clear expectations around communication and support. If you have a problem and you've already tried solving it yourself and asked your peers, then go ahead and send the instructor a direct message. However, there's an important note here. The instructor is busy, and replies are primarily given on Saturdays, so don't expect an immediate response during the week. The instructor is doing their best to support everyone, but the expectation is that you put in the effort first. Practice, try, ask your group, and if you're still stuck after all of that, then send that message. This approach builds independence and real skill. One of the most important things the instructor emphasized in this session is consistency. A consistency follow-up plan has already been shared with all participants, and the instructor is urging everyone to follow it. This isn't just about attending sessions. It's about applying what you learn right after each session every single time. The concept here is simple but powerful. Consistent, regular practice compounds over time. You don't need to do everything perfectly in one go. Small daily effort adds up to massive results. So follow the plan, show up consistently, and keep applying what you learn.
Picking up right where we left off, today's session is all about setting up Meta for advertising. The instructor lays out a clear 4-step roadmap for what we're going to accomplish. First, we create the business portfolio. Second, we link the Facebook page to it. Third, we create an ad account inside it. And fourth, we assign tasks and roles to team members. It's important to understand that these steps build on each other, so we're going to go through them one by one in order. So what exactly is Meta Business Manager? The instructor makes a very important distinction here. Facebook has a completely separate platform just for advertising. Your regular personal Facebook profile is one thing, but when you want to run ads professionally, you use a different platform entirely. This platform is called Meta Business Manager, and it's also referred to as Meta Ads Manager or the Business Portfolio. You access it by going to business.facebook.com. Think of it as the professional control center for all your Facebook and Instagram advertising activities. The instructor also mentions Meta Business Suite, which is a related but slightly different tool. While Meta Business Manager is focused on creating and managing paid advertising campaigns, Meta Business Suite is more about tracking your pages, monitoring performance, scheduling posts, and viewing analytics. Both of these tools are accessible from the same portal, business.facebook.com, and they both live under what Meta calls your business portfolio. Understanding the difference helps you know which tool to reach for depending on what task you're trying to accomplish. Let's walk through step 1, creating your business portfolio. The instructor is clear that before you can do anything here, you need to already have a personal Facebook account set up. Once you have that, you go to business.facebook.com and create a new business portfolio. This business portfolio becomes your central hub. Everything else, your pages, your ad accounts, your pixels, all of it will live inside this portfolio. It's essentially the container that holds all your advertising assets in one organized place. Step 2 is linking your Facebook page to the business portfolio you just created. Your Facebook page, whether it's for a brand, a business, or a service, needs to be connected to your business portfolio so that you can run ads on its behalf. The instructor notes that your page should already exist before this step. Once linked, Meta knows which page your ads will be associated with. And importantly, if you manage multiple businesses or brands, you can link multiple pages to a single business portfolio, which keeps everything organized under one roof. Step 3 is creating an ad account. This is where the actual advertising magic happens. Your ad account is the place inside your business portfolio where you build campaigns, set budgets, track performance, and manage billing. The instructor emphasizes that you create the ad account inside your business portfolio. It's not a separate standalone thing. Think of the business portfolio as the building, and the ad account as one of the key offices inside that building. Without an ad account, you simply cannot run any ads. The final step in this setup process is assigning tasks and roles. Once your business portfolio, page, and ad account are all set up, you can invite team members and assign them specific roles. The instructor highlights this as an important step. Not everyone on your team needs full admin access. You can give someone the advertiser role so they can create and run campaigns, or the analyst role so they can only view reports without making changes. This protects your account from accidental changes and allows multiple people to collaborate efficiently without stepping on each other's work. The instructor makes a point of mentioning the Meta Pixel, but intentionally sets it aside for later. The Pixel is a powerful tracking tool that you install on your website to track visitor behavior and measure ad performance. However, it's a more advanced topic and will be covered toward the end of the course. So for now, the focus is entirely on getting the foundational setup right: the business portfolio, the page link, the ad account, and the role assignments. The Pixel comes after all of this is in place. During the session, a student raises a question about a WordPress theme they created using AI. The student mentions they built an animated theme for WordPress, but it's been causing problems. There are bugs, it keeps asking for upgrades, and there are background and white display issues showing up. The instructor's first response is to ask about the theme category, specifically what category the theme falls under. The student confirms it's in the animated category. This is a practical reminder that AI-generated themes, while convenient, can come with compatibility and display issues that need to be carefully tested before you use them on a live site. Wrapping up the session's agenda, the instructor outlines what's coming next. Today's work, the meta setup, should be continued and practiced on your own. Tomorrow, the class will run a complete ad campaign from start to finish. The instructor specifically reminds students to have their payment card ready before the next session, because you'll need it to actually run ads. And as an added bonus, the instructor mentions they'll be sharing their own personal advertising stats and results in the next session, which should give students a real-world benchmark to learn from. So let's pick up right where we left off. The instructor is now walking us through the actual process of building out a business portfolio, and there's a clear 4-step sequence here that you want to keep in mind. First, you create the business itself. Second, you go inside that business and link your pages to it.
Third, you create your ads. And finally, and this is where the real action happens, you assign tasks and run those ads. Think of this as your operational roadmap. Every step builds on the previous one, so getting the order right really matters. The very first step is creating the business. In platforms like Meta Business Manager, this means setting up a central hub, a container essentially, where all of your pages, ad accounts, pixels, and other assets will live. You give it a business name, connect an admin account, and provide a business email. This might seem like a simple setup step, but it's foundational. Everything else you do, linking pages, running ads, assigning roles, all of that happens inside this business entity you're creating right now. Once the business is created, the next step is to go inside it and link your pages. This means connecting your Facebook page, your Instagram account, and any other relevant assets to the business portfolio. Why does this matter? Because when your pages are linked to the business, the platform knows which audiences to target, which placements to use, and which accounts have permission to run ads. Without this linking step, your ads won't have the proper context or permissions to run effectively, so don't skip it. It's a critical bridge between your business identity and your advertising activity. With the business set up and pages linked, you're now ready to create ads. Ad creation follows a structured hierarchy. You start at the campaign level, where you define your objective, then move to the ad set level, where you define your audience and budget, and finally, at the ad level, you design the actual creative, the image, video, or copy that your audience will see. The instructor emphasizes that this step only makes sense after your pages are properly linked, because the ad system needs to know which page it's representing and which pixel it's tracking with. The final step in this workflow is assigning tasks and running the ads. The instructor makes an important point here. You don't just randomly assign tasks. You think carefully about who is best suited for each role, who understands the creative side, who handles the technical pixel setup, who monitors performance. Matching tasks to people based on their strengths is what makes the whole operation run smoothly. Once tasks are assigned and everything is in place, you run the ads. This is the culmination of all the previous steps. The business is set up, pages are linked, ads are created, and now the right people are executing the right responsibilities. Now the instructor shifts to explain what a pixel actually is, and they use a really accessible example to make it click. Imagine you have an e-commerce platform, an online store. When someone visits your site, browses products, adds something to their cart, or completes a purchase, the pixel is silently recording all of that behavior. A pixel is essentially a small snippet of tracking code that you embed into your website. It acts as a bridge between your website activity and your ad platform. So when someone visits your store and then later sees your ad on Facebook, the platform knows, thanks to the pixel, that this person has already shown interest in your products. That's powerful targeting. So why does the pixel matter so much, especially for e-commerce? Think about the customer journey. Someone visits your website, that's tracked. They view a specific product, tracked. They add it to the cart but don't buy, tracked. They complete a purchase, tracked. The pixel captures every single one of these actions, and with that data, you can do 3 incredibly powerful things. Retargeting, which means showing ads specifically to people who already visited your site, conversion tracking, which tells you which ads are actually leading to sales, and lookalike audiences, where the platform finds new people who behave similarly to your existing buyers. The pixel is essentially the intelligence layer of your entire ad strategy. Moving on, the instructor now discusses the topic of theme categories. The context here is that the current theme being used was generating a number of issues: bugs, white or blank backgrounds showing up unexpectedly, and general visual inconsistencies. The instructor mentions that the theme in use falls under the animated category. Theme categories matter because different categories are built with different technical foundations. An animated theme, for example, relies on motion effects and dynamic rendering, which can sometimes conflict with certain server configurations or plugin setups. Specifically, the instructor is running the Gravity theme, which falls under the animated category. And they note that while Gravity does match the animated theme requirements, it comes with some potential pitfalls. If your PHP version on the server doesn't match what the theme expects, you can run into structural layout problems, things breaking visually, elements not rendering correctly, or blank white sections appearing. The instructor's advice here is practical. Check your PHP version, make sure it's compatible with the theme, and if you're seeing these kinds of errors, that's likely the first place to look. One of the most common causes of theme-related bugs, especially white backgrounds and broken layouts, is a PHP version mismatch. PHP is the server-side scripting language that powers most WordPress and web-based themes. If your server is running an older version of PHP that the theme wasn't designed for, things will break in unpredictable ways. The fix is straightforward. Go into your hosting control panel, check which PHP version is active, and compare it against the theme's documented requirements. If there's a mismatch, update your PHP version. This single surprisingly large number of theme display issues. The instructor wraps up the theme discussion with a strong recommendation. Set your theme to auto-update. This is a best practice that a lot of people overlook. Theme developers regularly push updates that fix bugs, patch security vulnerabilities, and improve compatibility with newer PHP versions and plugins. If you're manually updating, or worse, not updating at all, you're leaving yourself exposed to exactly the kinds of issues we just talked about. By enabling auto-updates, your theme stays current automatically, which means fewer surprises, fewer broken layouts, and a more stable experience for your visitors. It's a small setting that makes a big difference in the long run. So let's talk about how pixel tracking actually works in practice. Here's a simple, real-world example. A user visits an e-commerce website. They browse a product, maybe they read reviews, look at photos, spend some time on that product page, but they don't actually buy it. They leave without purchasing. Now, if that website has the metapixel connected to it, Facebook captures that behavior. It knows this person was interested in that product. And then, sometime later, when that same person is scrolling through their Facebook feed, they'll see an ad for that exact product. That's retargeting, and it's powered entirely by the metapixel tracking the user's data and behavior across platforms. Why does this matter for you as an advertiser? Without the pixel, you're essentially showing ads to everyone and hoping someone is interested. With the metapixel, you're targeting people who have already shown real interest in your product. They visited your page, they looked at your product, they just didn't pull the trigger. That's a warm audience, and converting warm audiences is far more efficient than cold targeting. This is why pixel setup is such a critical skill, and the instructor emphasizes that this will be done practically on a live website, not just theory. Now, let's revisit the core architecture of Facebook ads, because this is something you absolutely need to have clear in your mind before moving forward. There are 3 levels. At the top, you have the campaign level. This is where you set your objective. Are you running for awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, or sales? Below that is the ad set level, where you define your audience, your budget, your schedule, and your placements. And at the bottom is the ad level. This is the actual creative that users see. The image or video, the text, the call to action. Importantly, this entire structure only becomes available after your ad account has been created. When you're setting up a campaign, one of the first decisions you make is your objective. Are you running for awareness, trying to get your brand in front of new people? Are you running for traffic, pushing people to your website? Are you optimizing for engagement, likes, comments, shares? Or are you going straight for leads and sales? Each objective tells Facebook's algorithm what kind of result to optimize for, and your budget planning is directly tied to this choice. The instructor points out that you need to think carefully about how much budget to allocate, which geographic area to target, and what the goal actually is. All of this is planned at the campaign level. So how do you actually get into Meta Business Suite? It's straightforward. You type business.facebook.com into your browser. When you land on that page, you'll see the Meta Business Suite interface. Now, one critical thing to understand, you need a personal Facebook account to log in. You cannot create a business portfolio without first having a personal Facebook profile. The instructor demonstrates this live, noting that in the browser being used, the personal Facebook account isn't logged in, which is why the full interface isn't showing, but the process is the same for everyone. Creating a business portfolio is actually quite simple. You go to business.facebook.com, log in with your personal Facebook account, then look for the option to create a new business portfolio. You'll be asked for your business name and your email address. The instructor makes an important point here. Use real data. Don't put in fake or placeholder information, because Meta will ask you to verify this later. If the data doesn't match, you'll run into problems. The instructor also notes that on their own account, they've hit a creation limit, meaning they've created too many portfolios already, which is why they're demonstrating from a different account. Before you create anything, before you run a single ad, the instructor strongly emphasizes that you need to read and understand Meta's advertising policies. This is not optional. Meta has a detailed set of rules about what you can and cannot advertise. There are prohibited categories, things like scams, fraudulent offers, and misleading content that Meta will never allow. There are restricted categories, like political advertising, which requires special authorization. And there are behavioral rules around the language you use in your ads. The instructor shares from personal experience. If you use certain words, even accidentally, Meta can suspend your account immediately. And once suspended, Getting access back is extremely difficult, even if you appeal.
Let's talk specifically about account suspension, because this is something the instructor has seen happen even to people in their own circle. The triggers are more common than you'd think. Using certain keywords related to violence or hate, even unintentionally, can get your account flagged and suspended immediately. Promoting anything that looks like a scam or making misleading claims will also trigger a suspension. But here's one that surprises people. Frequently changing your payment method or editing your ad details right after adding them can also flag your account. Meta system interprets that as potential fraud. The solution is to be consistent, be honest, follow the policies strictly, and build your account's trust over time.
One concept the instructor introduces here is the idea of building a strong portfolio over time. When you first create a business portfolio, Meta gives you limited permissions. For example, you might only be able to create one ad account. But as you consistently run campaigns, spend money, and demonstrate that you're a legitimate advertiser, Meta gradually increases your limits and trust level. If you have a registered business, like a corporate startup with official registration documents, you may be able to unlock higher limits faster. The key takeaway is that this is a long-term game. You build trust with Meta the same way you build trust with any platform, through consistent, legitimate activity. It's important to understand the distinction between a business portfolio and an ad account. These are two different things that work together. The business portfolio, also called Business Manager, is the parent container. It holds all your assets, your Facebook pages, your ad accounts, your pixels, and your team members. The ad account, on the other hand, is where you actually create and run your ads. It has its own payment method and its own spending limits. When you first create a business portfolio, Meta typically allows you to create only one ad account. As your account builds trust and history, that limit can increase. The instructor points out this limit directly, noting that new accounts are restricted to one ad account creation at the start. Once you're inside the Meta Business Suite dashboard, here's what you'll see. On the left sidebar, you have navigation options for all your key assets. The Business Info section is where you can edit your business name, legal name, address, and other details, and the instructor advises filling in everything as completely as possible. You'll also see sections for ad accounts, connected Facebook pages, pixels, and people, which is where you manage team access and permissions. The main content area shows your dashboard overview with campaign performance data. If you have multiple business portfolios, you can switch between them from the top navigation. This interface is the same for everyone, so once you're familiar with it, you'll feel right at home. Now, there's a separate but important technical point that comes up here: PHP compatibility. When running plugins like Gravity Forms on a WordPress site, you may encounter a warning that says your PHP version is incompatible. This is a serious warning, not something to ignore. An outdated PHP version can create what are called backdoor vulnerabilities, essentially gaps in your website's security that hackers can exploit to gain unauthorized access to your site. The instructor's advice is clear. Check your PHP version in your hosting settings and make sure you have auto updates enabled so that your PHP and your plugins stay current. If you see this kind of warning, take a screenshot and investigate it immediately. Don't leave it unresolved. Now that the business portfolio has been set up, there's a very important limitation to be aware of, and this is something that catches a lot of beginners off guard. Inside a newly created business portfolio, you are restricted to creating only one ad account. That's it, just one. You cannot go in and create multiple ad accounts right away. This is a platform-level restriction that Meta enforces on new portfolios. So let's be clear about what exactly is limited and what isn't. The limitation is specifically on the number of ad accounts you can create, just one. However, once you're inside that single ad account, you are free to launch as many campaigns as you want. There's no cap on campaigns, ad sets, or individual ads. So the restriction is at the account level, not at the campaign level. You have one container, but you can fill it with as many campaigns as your strategy requires. Now, this one ad account limitation is perfectly fine if you're working solo, as an individual learning digital marketing or running your own small projects. For individual use, one ad account is honestly enough to get started and run effective campaigns. However, if you eventually move into the corporate space, if you start a company or work at an agency level, then this limitation becomes more relevant and you'll need to go through a process to expand your account capacity. But for now, at the solo level, don't worry about it. Inside the business portfolio settings, there's a field called Business Verification Status. For most new accounts, this will show as unverified. This is completely normal when you're just starting out. Being unverified means your account has some feature restrictions, but it doesn't stop you from running campaigns. Now, if you do want to get verified, which is recommended for serious business use, you'll need to provide proof of your business. Specifically, you need to upload a photo of your company's registration certificate. That document is what Meta uses to confirm that your business is legitimate.
If you decide to pursue business verification, the process is straightforward. First, navigate to the Business Verification section within your business settings on Meta. Second, you upload a clear photo of your company's registration certificate. This is the official government document that proves your business is registered. Third, you submit it and wait for Meta to review and approve your application. This verification is especially important if you're running an agency, a startup, or operating at a corporate level, because it unlocks higher trust and expanded account capabilities. Now, shifting to a different but equally important topic, security warnings. One of the students in this session raised a concern about a warning they were seeing. The warning was indicating that there was a potential backdoor access risk, meaning that hackers could potentially use a vulnerability, possibly in a theme or plugin, to gain unauthorized access to the account or website. This is a serious warning and should not be ignored. The recommended first step is to take a clear screenshot of the warning message and share it with someone who can help diagnose the issue, whether that's your instructor or a security professional. Let's take a moment to understand what a backdoor vulnerability actually is. Think of your website or ad account like a house. The front door is your normal login, protected by your username and password. A backdoor, on the other hand, is like a broken window or a hidden side entrance that someone else can use to get in without your knowledge. These backdoors are often introduced through malicious or poorly coded themes and plugins. When Meta or a security scanner detects this kind of risk, it throws a warning to alert you. That's exactly what was happening in this case. If you ever encounter a security warning like this, here's what you should do. First, take a screenshot of the exact warning. Capture the full message so nothing is missed. Second, do not dismiss or ignore it, even if it seems minor. Third, share that screenshot with your instructor or a security expert who can properly diagnose what's going on. Fourth, wait for their guidance before making any changes on your own, because the wrong move could make things worse. And fifth, follow up. In this case, a callback was scheduled for Sunday or Monday to work through the issue together. Security problems are absolutely solvable, but they require the right approach. Another great question came up during this session. When you're first creating your ad account, should you use your personal name or a business name? The instructor had used a business name like Digital Spark or Digital Hub as an example. The answer really depends on your situation. If you're working as a solo freelancer or just learning, using your personal name is perfectly fine. But if you're building a brand or an agency, it makes much more sense to use your business or brand name from the start. This sets a professional tone and makes it easier to manage if you bring on clients or team members later. Before you finalize the name for your ad account, it's worth asking yourself a few key questions. Are you working solo, or are you building a brand that others will see? Will you eventually have clients or team members accessing this account? Do you have a registered business name you should be using? And is this account primarily for learning, or is it for professional client work? Your answers will guide you to the right choice. And here's a reassuring tip. You can update your business name later if needed, but starting with the right name from the beginning saves a lot of confusion and rebranding effort down the road. Picking up right where we left off, let's talk about the business verification status. When you first set up your business portfolio, you'll notice it shows as unverified. This is something you need to address. If you want to get your business verified, you'll need to upload a photo of your company's registration certificate, your official business registration document. Once you upload that and enter the verification code that gets sent to you, the verification process is complete. This is an important step because a verified business gets more trust and more features from Facebook. Once you're inside the business portfolio setup, there are several important fields you need to fill in carefully. Your business portfolio ID is automatically assigned. That's your unique identifier. Then you'll enter your business name, your city, for example, Kathmandu, your website URL, and your PAN number or tax ID. These details make your portfolio complete and professional. Two very important settings. Make sure you turn on two-factor authentication for security and set the access level to admin only. Taking the time to fill all of this in properly will save you a lot of problems later on. Now, let's look at the user section inside your business portfolio. There are 3 types of users you can manage here: people, partners, and system users. People. This is for individuals. If you want to give someone temporary access, you can add them using their Facebook profile, username, or email address. Once added, they can run and manage your pages on your behalf. Partners. This is for other businesses or agencies. If someone is working with you professionally, you can give them access to your entire business suite so they can view and manage things for you. System users. This is more technical and is mainly used when we get to Pixel integration. We'll cover that separately when we discuss Pixel setup. The account section is arguably the most important part of your business portfolio setup. This section has two major components, pages and ad accounts. Under pages, you have three options. You can add an existing page you already own, you can request access to someone else's page, or you can create a brand new page from scratch. Under ad accounts, this is where you create and manage the accounts through which you actually run your Facebook ads. From a single ad account, you can run multiple campaigns. The limit on ad accounts per portfolio starts at 1, but Facebook can increase this based on how well you use the platform and how much trust you build over time. When you go to add a page in the account section, Facebook gives you three distinct options. First, you can create a brand new page if you don't have one yet. Second, you can add an existing page. For example, if you already have a page like Spark Digital, you simply search for it, click on it, and it gets added to your portfolio. Third, you can request access to someone else's page. Be very specific. You can choose to grant only insights access, community access, content access, or calls and analysis access. This granular control is very useful when working with clients professionally. Let's walk through how to add an existing page to your business portfolio, step by step. First, navigate to the Account section and then to Pages. Click the option to add a page. In the search bar, type your page name, for example, Spark Digital, and it will appear in the results. Click on it, then click Next. After that, click to confirm, and just like that, your page is successfully added to your business portfolio. It's a very straightforward process, and once it's done, your page is linked and ready to be used with your ad account. Now, let's talk about ad account limits, because this is something that confuses a lot of people. By default, a new business portfolio gets only one ad account. Facebook is conservative with this at first. However, as you use the platform consistently and build trust, meaning you run ads regularly, pay on time, and follow policies, Facebook will increase your limit. Some accounts can get up to 3 or even more ad accounts. But here's the reassuring part. One ad account is genuinely enough for most people. From a single ad account, you can run multiple campaigns for your own business and for your clients. So don't worry if you only have one to start with. It's more than sufficient. Creating an ad account is a straightforward process, but there are a couple of critical details you must get right. Go to the Account section, then Ad Accounts, and click Create Ad Account. Give your ad account a meaningful name. For example, you could name it after your business, like Spark Digital Services. Or if you manage multiple clients, you might name one My Clients. Then you need to select your time zone. Scroll through the options and select KTM, which stands for Kathmandu. This is very important. Next, select your currency. These two settings, time zone and currency, must be correct. If they don't match, your ads simply won't run properly. Finally, choose whether this account is for your own business or for a client. Then click Create Account. Your ad account is now live. Once your ad account is created, you'll click Open Ads Manager, and this is where all the real work happens. The Ads Manager, accessible at adsmanager.facebook.com, is your main workspace for everything related to Facebook advertising. From here, you can create and manage campaigns, view reports on how your ads are performing, manage billing and payments, and configure advertising settings. When you go to create a new campaign, you'll immediately be asked to choose your campaign objective. These objectives are awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, app promotion, and sales. Everything you do in Facebook advertising flows through this interface, so getting comfortable with it is essential. When you create a campaign in Ads Manager, the very first thing Facebook asks you is, what is your objective? This is a critical choice because Facebook uses your objective to decide who to show your ad to and how to optimize it. Awareness is for when you want maximum reach. You want people to know your brand exists. Traffic is for sending people to your website or a specific URL. Engagement is for getting interactions, likes, comments, shares on your posts. Leads is for collecting contact information, like phone numbers or emails from interested people. App promotion is specifically for mobile apps, and sales is for driving actual purchases or conversions. Always choose the objective that matches your actual business goal, because this single choice shapes everything else about how your campaign performs. Now let's cover how to add your payment method in Ads Manager. Go to Billing and Payment and click Add Payment Method. Select your country, Nepal, then choose Debit and Credit Card. You'll need to enter your card name exactly as it appears on your card, then enter your card number, your expiry month and year, and finally your CVV or CVC number. The CVV is the 3-digit number found on the back of your card. It's a security code and you should never share it with anyone. Once you save this information, your card is linked to your ad account and you're ready to fund your campaigns.
If you don't have a dollar card yet, go to your bank and ask specifically for a dollar card. Any bank can issue one. You'll need it to run Facebook ads. Inside the payment section, you'll notice there's also an option labeled something like I have a voucher or a credit claim option. This is when Facebook gives you promotional ad credits, which they do occasionally. If you ever receive such a credit, you can claim it from here. For most people, though, you'll be going through the normal debit and credit card route. Once your card is linked, you can track every single payment you've made, how much you've spent, and your full billing history, all from the billing and payment section. This is very useful for keeping track of your advertising spend, especially when you're managing campaigns for multiple clients.
Let's take a step back and look at the full structure of what we've built so far, because understanding this hierarchy is key to working efficiently. At the top, you have your business portfolio. This is the container for everything. Inside it, you have pages. Your Facebook pages are linked here. You also have your ad account, and from that single ad account, you can run multiple campaigns targeting different objectives, audiences, and budgets. Separately, you manage users, people, partners, and system users who can access different parts of your portfolio. This clean structure means everything is organized in one place, and you can manage your own business and your clients' businesses all from this single business portfolio.
One more important feature worth noting at this stage is audience controls. Inside your ad account settings, there's an audience control section that lets you define and restrict who sees your ads. You can target by location, age, gender, interests, behaviors, and more. You can also create custom audiences, for example, people who have already visited your website, and lookalike audiences, which are people who are similar to your existing customers. We'll go deep into audience targeting when we get to the actual campaign setup, but it's important to know this feature exists and that it gives you very precise control over who your ads reach. This is one of the most powerful aspects of Facebook advertising.
Before we move on, here are the key things you need to make sure you've done or are working on. First, complete your business portfolio setup fully. Don't skip any fields, like your city, website, or tax ID. Second, enable two-factor authentication. This protects your account. Third, link your Facebook page to your business portfolio. Fourth, create your ad account with the correct time zone, Kathmandu, and the correct currency. Fifth, if you don't have a dollar card yet, go to your bank and get one. You'll need it to run ads. And sixth, open Ads Manager and start getting familiar with the interface. The most important thing at this stage is to actually do these steps yourself. Watching is one thing, but hands-on practice is what will make this second nature.
Continuing from where we left off, let's dig into one of the most powerful features inside Facebook Ads Manager: audience control. This section is all about giving you precise control over exactly who sees your ads. You're not just broadcasting to everyone. You can filter your audience by specific location, by the device they're using, by their behavior, and by their interests. This level of specificity is what separates a well-optimized campaign from one that wastes budget. Here's a practical example of how location targeting works. Say you only want to reach people inside Kathmandu, not all of Nepal, just the capital. The process is straightforward. First, you select Nepal as your country. Then, instead of stopping there, you drill down into the region or city level. You search for Kathmandu specifically, and then browse and apply that filter. This means your ad budget is only spent on people physically located in that area. No wasted impressions on audiences outside your target zone. Audience control goes beyond just location. You can target based on device type, for example, only showing ads to people on mobile. You can filter by behavior, meaning people who have taken specific actions online. And you have placement control, deciding whether your ad appears in the Facebook feed, Instagram stories, Messenger, and so on. The instructor also mentions custom audiences, which is a more advanced topic that will be covered in detail after students get hands-on practice with the basics. An important piece of advice here: when you're just starting out, don't try to configure every single setting at once. The instructor recommends leaving the default audience settings as they are for now and moving forward with the campaign creation process. The reason is simple. If you don't yet fully understand your campaign objective, tweaking advanced audience settings prematurely can actually hurt your results. Get comfortable with the structure first, then come back and refine. Now, let's talk about one of the most critical decisions you'll make when setting up any Facebook ad campaign: choosing your objective. There are 6 objectives available. First is awareness. This is for getting your brand in front of as many relevant people as possible. Second is traffic. This drives people to your website, landing page, or Instagram profile. Third is engagement. This boosts interactions like likes, comments, and shares. Fourth is leads. This collects contact information through instant forms, WhatsApp integration, or calls. Fifth is app promotion. And sixth is sales, which involves a more complete conversion journey. Choosing the wrong objective means Facebook optimizes your ad delivery for the wrong outcome, so this decision really matters.
Let's zoom into the traffic objective specifically, because it's one of the most commonly used. When you select traffic, Facebook will optimize your ad delivery to reach people who are most likely to click through to your destination. That destination could be your website, a specific landing page, or even your Instagram profile. The key thing to understand is that traffic is about movement, getting people from the ad into your ecosystem, whether that's your website or your social profile.
The leads objective is particularly powerful for service-based businesses. Instead of sending someone to an external website, Facebook can collect their information right inside the platform using instant forms, pre-filled forms that make it incredibly easy for users to submit their details. You can also route leads through WhatsApp, through your website's own lead forms, or even through a phone call. There's also an option to create an event as part of your lead capture strategy. The big advantage here is reducing friction. The fewer steps between seeing the ad and submitting info, the higher your conversion rate. The sales objective is the most advanced of the six. It's designed for when you want Facebook to directly drive purchases or conversions. But here's the important caveat. The instructor emphasizes that sales requires a complete journey to be set up first. You need a functioning sales page or landing page, your Facebook pixel installed to track conversions, and a payment or checkout flow ready to go. If any piece of that funnel is missing, the sales objective won't perform well. It's not a beginner starting point, it's the destination you work toward. When you click Create inside Ads Manager and choose an objective, say awareness, you'll immediately see 3 layers appear. This is the fundamental structure of every Facebook ad campaign. At the top is the campaign level, where you set your overall objective. Below that is the ad set level. This is where you define your audience, set your budget, choose your placements, and schedule your ads. At the bottom is the ad level. This is the actual creative that your audience sees: the image or video, the headline, the body text, and the call to action button. Understanding this 3-layer structure is essential before you start configuring anything. Before you actually run any ad, there's a preparation checklist you need to complete. The instructor is very clear about this. Don't just jump into Ads Manager without being ready. First, your ad copy needs to be written. That means your headline, your body text, and your call to action. Second, you need to know exactly who you're targeting. Have your audience list defined. Third, prepare at least 2 creative variations, images or short videos. Fourth, do your detailed targeting research. Know what interests and behaviors your audience has. And fifth, make sure your website or blog has fresh, relevant content being published consistently. The instructor specifically asks students to come to the next session with ad copy, a post, and a detailed targeting plan ready. Detailed targeting is where Facebook advertising becomes truly powerful. Instead of showing your ad to a broad, general audience, detailed targeting lets you layer filters to reach only the people who are most likely to be interested in what you're offering. You can filter by demographics, things like age, gender, education level, or job title. You can filter by interests, based on the pages people follow and the topics they engage with. And you can filter by behaviors, like purchase history, device usage, or travel patterns. The instructor plans to walk through a full practical example of detailed targeting in the next session, using a real product or sample campaign. A really important clarification comes up here. One of the students asks whether Facebook ads work on a pay-per-click model like Google Ads. The answer is no, and this is a common misconception. Google Ads does use a pay-per-click system, where you're charged every time someone clicks on your ad. Facebook has a completely different billing and delivery system. On Facebook, you're typically paying based on impressions, reach, or specific results depending on your objective, not purely on clicks. The underlying logic is also different. Google targets people who are actively searching for something, while Facebook targets people based on their interests and behaviors while they're browsing. 2 very different platforms with 2 very different approaches. Here's an important structural point about how Facebook advertising is set up. Your Facebook personal account, your business portfolio, also called Meta Business Suite, and your ad account are all separate entities, but they're connected. You need a Facebook profile to create and access the business portfolio, but once it's set up, they operate independently. Critically, the instructor warns that running ads directly from your personal Facebook profile is against Facebook's own policy. Facebook explicitly states in its policies that ads should not be run from personal profiles. If you do, your account risks being restricted, which means you lose the ability to run ads at all. Always use Ads Manager through your business portfolio. There's an interesting side discussion in this session about Facebook automation and chatbots. One of the students has been building a bot that connects their Facebook page to their website, so that when someone messages on Facebook, the bot pulls information from the website and responds automatically. This is a legitimate and powerful use case. However, a key technical issue comes up: Facebook API tokens. These tokens are required for your bot to communicate with Facebook systems, and they expire. The instructor notes that Facebook has actually made it harder to obtain these tokens recently compared to before. If your bot isn't responding correctly, the first thing to check is whether your token is still valid and properly configured.
To wrap up this session's practical component, the instructor gives students 3 specific homework tasks to complete before the next class. First, write your ad copy. That means your headline, your body text, and your call to action. Don't just think about it, actually write it out. Second, create your post or creative. Prepare at least 2 variations of your image or video. Having multiple versions lets you test what performs better. Third, build your detailed targeting plan. Research who your ideal customer is, what interests they have, what behaviors they exhibit, and what demographics they fall into. When all 3 of these are ready, the next session will walk through a complete live campaign setup from start to finish.
So, picking up right where we left off, the instructor is setting the stage for the next session, which will go deep into campaign objectives. There are 6 campaign objectives in Meta Ads, and each one serves a different purpose. In the upcoming session, students will learn what each campaign type actually means, what bidding types are, how AI updates are affecting the platform, how to run tests, and what special ad categories are all about. The goal is to understand not just what these settings are, but why you choose one over another. Before moving forward, the instructor gives students a very clear checklist of things to complete on their own. First, go into Business Manager and fill out all your business information. Explore every section. Second, if you haven't already linked your Instagram account, do that now. Third, link your WhatsApp number and make sure you select Nepal as the country code when you do. Once you enter the number, you'll receive a verification code. Enter that code and you're connected. After completing all of this, take a screenshot of your setup and share it in the group. That screenshot is how the instructor knows you've understood and completed the lesson. Let's walk through exactly how to link WhatsApp. Inside your Meta Business settings, find the WhatsApp option and click on it. You'll be prompted to enter your WhatsApp number. Make sure you set the country to Nepal, which uses the +977 country code. Once you hit continue, a verification code will be sent to that WhatsApp number. Enter that code in the field provided, and your WhatsApp account will be successfully linked to your Meta Business account. It's a straightforward process, but getting the country code right is important. That's a common mistake students make. The instructor makes a really important point here about learning philosophy. It's better to deeply understand one lesson than to rush through many and understand none of them. If you make a mistake during your setup, and mistakes are completely normal, don't panic. Post in the group or message the instructor directly. The key is to not stop. Keep practicing. The whole point of this course is practical, hands-on learning. You're not just watching, you're doing. And when you've completed the setup, that screenshot you send is your proof of progress. Here's the exciting part. The next session isn't just theory. Every student is going to run an actual awareness campaign for their own page. The instructor will also be running one on their own page called Digital Spark or Digital App so that everyone can see real results together. Even though the instructor doesn't necessarily need to run ads right now, they're doing it specifically so students can see what practical results look like in a real account. This is the kind of learning that sticks. You see the numbers, you understand the process, and you build confidence. A student asked about business verification. Specifically, what happens if you don't have a business certificate? The instructor clarifies that full business verification is really designed for registered companies. For individuals or solo operators, you can use your national ID or PAN number to reduce some of the verification barriers. However, the instructor notes that the platform's policy on this has been changing. Previously, submitting a photocopy of your NID or PAN was enough to get some level of verification. But recently, the platform has become stricter, and it may not grant full verification through those documents alone. The advice is to try, but be aware that the outcome depends on the current platform policy, which updates frequently. A student asked a great question. Does Facebook ads work like Google ads with a pay-per-click model? The instructor clears this up directly. Google Ads does use a pay-per-click system, meaning you only pay when someone actually clicks on your ad. Facebook ads works differently. It's not a pure pay-per-click system. Facebook charges you based on delivery and results, meaning your budget gets spent as Facebook shows your ad to people, regardless of whether they click or not. The instructor also mentions that there's a common myth around Google Ads too, that it's purely pay-per-click, and that will be addressed in a dedicated Google Ads session. For now, the key takeaway is Facebook will spend your budget whether or not you get the results you hoped for, so setting up your campaigns correctly from the start really matters. This is one of the most important things to understand before you spend a single rupee on Facebook ads. The platform will charge you based on how your ad is delivered, not based on whether you got sales, leads, or clicks. If your campaign is set up poorly, Facebook will still spend your entire budget, and you'll have very little to show for it. This is exactly why the instructor is taking the time to go through every detail, objectives, targeting, bidding, testing, before students run real campaigns with real money. Understanding the system first is what separates people who waste their ad budget from people who get results. To give you a clear picture of where we are in the learning journey, the instructor mentioned sharing a full workflow with students, so nothing feels confusing or out of order. You've already completed Business Manager setup. Right now, you're working on linking Instagram and WhatsApp. In the next session, you'll dive into the 6 campaign objectives: bidding types, AI updates, testing, and special ad categories. Then you'll run a live awareness campaign and start analyzing real results. Each step builds on the last, and the instructor is being very deliberate about going in-depth on each piece before moving forward. The workflow will be shared in the group so everyone has a reference. Let's wrap up with the key takeaways from everything covered in this section. Number 1, complete your Business Manager setup fully before moving on. Number 2, link both your Instagram and WhatsApp accounts so your ad account has full functionality. Number 3, there are 6 campaign objectives and meta ads, and the next session will go deep into each one so you understand when and why to use them. Number 4, and this is critical, Facebook charges your budget based on ad delivery, not just on results. A poorly set up campaign will still spend your money. And number 5, the best way to learn this is by doing it. The next session involves running a real awareness campaign, so come prepared. Practice, take your screenshot, share it in the group, and keep moving forward.